What's up YouTube? I'm Vaughn and this is the Gear channel where we discuss collectibles, hobbies, competitive games from tabletop to video games, and today we are reviewing my COD deck that got first place not once but twice last week. That's right, so two different tournaments we got first place in. Technically we did three, but we only got first in two of them. So this build definitely is a big difference because we're going with more heavier extenders, but also the side, oh, it is so good. And we change it because here in Montreal, like Floowandereeze is almost like tier 1, like everyone's playing Floowandereeze here, so the side literally focused purely on Floowandereeze, and especially with Dimension Shifter, because Floowandereeze is not the issue, Dimension Shifter is the issue. So now with the new side, we're actually able to play around Dimension Shifter and actually combo off a little bit. Well, before we couldn't really do that, and we had to majority of the time scoop. So before we begin, friendly reminder to definitely like and subscribe, and especially subscribe if you guys want to enter in our giveaways. So let's go into the deck. So here it is. Now we definitely did a lot of changes. Now I also changed it twice. So there was a OTS 18 case tournament, which I changed the build really badly, so I actually decided to put triple tactics and all that. And let me tell you, triple tactics in today's format is not as good as it used to be, because especially with everyone always doing the lance or even the dimension shifter on the draw phase or the standby phase, it doesn't really have much use, especially for going first decks, and especially this one on top of that, because besides those interruptions, we don't really mind too much of other interruptions like Ash or Nib, like we can actually play through. So tactics showed to be a really bad choice, and we did horrible in that tournament, but we did get a shout out from Triff because he was there, so I'll definitely put a link in the description if you want to see that video. So starting first, we do have all the snakes with 3 Kage Tokages now, because it's just a really good extenders, and you can definitely do some chain blocking with it. 2 Colts. Now we did take out the Light Serpent because I had a choice of the Danger or the Light Serpent. Now the Light Serpent was too situational, but it did synergize with the majority of the cards here, while Danger doesn't synergize with the majority of the cards here. But it's not situational because you can always use its own effect whenever you have it. So it was really a big debate on those two. Then we have the rest of the reptiles. Now, as you can see, Overlord is actually inside, and you don't ever play the dark one. You don't need to play the dark Ododic ever, so don't even bother. Darkest Diabolus for more hand looping, Snake Rain, Water Lily, Rockets, okay. We are actually testing the one Nocto Vision. So far, it has not been bad. I don't think I would actually play 2 or even 3. It would be either 1 or none. I'm very happy with it at 1, and honestly, it's been working out very well. Okay, then we have the Strudel, which usually I always have to decide out in game 2 or game 3, because if you don't realize the combo over here, it's a 17-minute combo with no interruptions. Now, if your opponent doing interruptions or they have to read every single card, it's not really a good card for game 2 or game 3. So, Quick Lance, Boot, Ravine, Instant Fusion to supposed to summon the Darkfire Dragon, because Darkfire Dragon, there is just so much potential. You can link it, you can XYZ it, you could even synchro it, so you can use it as a material for pretty much anything, even for the tributes for the Ododics. So there's a lot of plays that you can do with Darkfire Dragon. Then we have the Star Leash, the Omni, the White, the Black Dragon, Chaos Valkyrie, which is probably a card that a lot of people underestimate, and this card could actually flush a light or dark, so you can actually send Snow for the opponent's turn, so you actually have an extra interruption. But also there's some cool plays that if you send Chaos Levineer and you have Star Leash, you can return the Chaos Levineer to hand. Even though you can't use Chaos Levineer's effect, you can still special summon it, and that's still a 3000 beat stick that's level 8 that you can use as an XYZ material. Then we have Chaos Creator, that is so good. And also, besides that, you can also spam Omega with Chaos Creator, so there's some cool plays. So Chaos Phase pretty much searches for anything, including Kage Tokage, because it can't be normal summon instead. It can't search for Omega, my bad, for Gamma, but it could definitely return it to the bottom of the deck to draw one card, so at least you can do that. 1-for-1, we have our 2 targets. Okay. Then we have Armageddon Knight, which is just a free foolish for a lot of our good dark monsters that we could do. Usually I use it to send Queen or Darkest Diabolus, because Queen is usually like the missing piece to actually do that extra like hand loop and special summoning. So usually do that, but many times if it's my starting play, I usually send Omni, because a lot of people are actually citing Ghost Ogre. So if I do overlay for King of the Pharaoh Imp and the Ghost Ogre, at least I could spell summon the Omni. Then we have Fairy Tail Snow, which I still think should be banned. Foolish, Monster Reborn, more random stuff. Fountain Knight, free extra material. Very nice. We have the 3 Gammas and the 1 Driver and the Call by the Grave, which pretty much does all the exact same thing for starting first. Now for the extra deck, we have, like I said before, Darkfire Dragon, 2 King of the Pharaoh Imps, which is mandatory. You can't just play 1. You don't need to play 3, but you need 2. In this deck, you have to play 2. Then we have Lancelot, which is probably my favorite negate in this deck, especially that I know it's mandatory negate, but it could literally attack your opponent directly and target face-up monster on the field and destroy it. And on top of that, if you attack directly, you could make an AA Zeus with it, so it's pretty cool. Zombie Vampire is so funny. Like, the amount of games that I won because of this card was ridiculous. Like, I went against a Thundereese player that milled a artifact Lance, and I suppose summoned it so I could use it on his turn, so he can't use any of his plunder stuff. So yeah, it was a really good card. Now links, we have the Striker, the Pitsy, the Romulus, the Sphere. You don't really need 2 spheres. You can actually cycle this back pretty easily. Lambda, which is amazing, because if you have Lambda and you use the effect of Omega end phase, you're going to search for a Gamma, which is quite cool, and that's an extra negate. Plus, you just hand loop your opponent as well. Then we have Saruja, which creates even bigger plays. You don't have to make Saruja all the time. I don't actually make Saruja all the time. Sometimes I hand loop my opponent, make negates, and I didn't even use a Saruja. But Saruja makes it a lot more easier, especially if you already dealt with a lot of interruptions. It just makes it a lot easier to actually finish the hand looping and creating negates. Then we have the Omega, Chaos Ruler, amazing card. We have Savage as our next negate. And then for the final negate that we have is Hot Red. Now for the side, so Overlord. Now the reason why Overlord is inside and not main is that this is a really going first deck. And Overlord is not really that good when it comes to going first. So it is a big brick, especially if you draw into it. So the whole point of this deck is trying to lower the amount of bricks that we usually get, so try not to get too much dead draws. So Overlord as side is really good, especially if we were going against like decks that can make Artifact Scythe. Then we could at least OTK our opponent with just the Ododic, so we don't have to use our extra deck. So I think leaving Overlord as side is key. The next monster is Raw Sphere Mode. Now this is for specifically a lot of players that are not good at being resourceful. So they'll just go and they overextend. Like I've seen this happen with a lot of Thundereese player with a lot of different decks that they just overextend a lot. And for us, we don't need to normal summon actually. Like there's a lot of plays that we could do that we don't even normal summon, and Raw is just free. Just 3 monsters board wipe very easily, and especially if we're against deck that does the DPE and has the Brave Engine, usually they do end the turn with at least 3 or more monsters, so this is definitely never a dead card. Okay, next we have Scarlet Red Dragon Archfiend with Gaga Cowboy, because we both know They're together for the exact same reason. So like I said, it does take a while for the combos. So to avoid these two cards is very easy, okay? Just scoop. If you see that I'm hand looping you and I'm making negates after you just use 4 hand traps and I'm still going off and all that, just scoop. It's not like there's nothing you're going to gain extra value of for. It's literally that you're just wasting time, and this is actually your time, because that means on game 2 we won't have that much time. If I side these type of cards in, it's a guarantee win for me. Or if we go into like game 3 like really fast, like I'll just do the combo again and then make these. Like the best way, like a lot of like good players, what they're doing now is that they're not even bothering anymore. As soon as they see that they don't have any interruptions, or they use their interruptions and I'm still going off, they'll just quit, and they rather focus that time on their turn when they choose to start for like game 2, or if they go second and they actually put in better side to actually go against this deck. Like, don't let me play it through. Like, this is time is very important when it comes versus this deck. Like, just scoop and go to game 2, and there you go. Then we have Babushka, which is honestly against Flannery. So Dimension Shifter, like I was saying, we could actually at least make Babushka, which is very harmful towards them. We have Aezus, which honestly, I do like Aezus, have no problem against it. Definitely prefer siding in second if I feel like, depends where I go against decks. If I feel like it's going to be a grind match, definitely we'll put the Aezus. Next we have 3 Lightning Storms, really good. And we have 2 Rigekis, which honestly, Rigekis is making a combat, and I'm actually debating of putting a third one, because it's just a free board wipe. Everyone's already supposed to summoning their monsters in defense. Lightning Storm, the only reason why it's here is that it also removes like back row, like spell and traps. But Rigeki is the one that's been like just demolishing people's like board every single time. And now for the best card for last is 3 Mystic Mine. Now let me tell you that a lot of you guys probably looking at this like, what the fuck is going on? Well, let me tell you, okay? Mystic Mine is probably the best going second card. So with a lot of these decks all spamming the board, everything, making interruptions and all that, so we could definitely deal with a lot of interruptions. So Mystic Mine is definitely that free card that we could just play, that our opponent cannot use any more interruptions. So there's a lot of games that I won by just simply playing Mystic Mine, doing all my combos on the Mystic Mine, get a Brood or Dragon Ravine, and then getting rid of the Mystic Mine, or many times even make Chaos Levineer to pop the Mystic Mine and one of my opponent's cards, and then just OTK. Many times I OTK'd with this card, and it is such a good card, and you don't ever have to worry about your opponent siding in like Mystic Mine or Twin Twister, because this deck doesn't really have any good back rows. So like Dragonlance and all those type of decks, like heavy monster combos, you don't put those cards in, like at all. There's no need to put it. And if my opponent actually does choose to actually put those type of cards just for this, that is a big misplay, because first off, this is a 60 card deck, so the odds of getting the Mystic Mine is already low. But if you want to waste better resources just to get rid of Mystic Mine and leave the rest of the monster package free, I am completely okay with that. And that's why, like, I don't ever have to worry if they do actually choose to side those type of back row removal for this, because it would be a waste. The only thing that you have to worry about with Mystic Mine is probably Draco back, but besides that, that's the only card. No one is going side in back row removal against you with this type of deck that you're playing. And that's it for a deck profile. If you guys enjoyed today's video, you know what to do. Like and subscribe, especially subscribe if you guys want to enter in our giveaways. And if you want a sneak peek of future products we're planning to review here on the channel, you can follow me on my Instagram, Vaughn Gear. I'm Vaughn, and this was the Gear Channel.